A devastating stop sign: Dominik Mysterio in critical condition after being attacked during a home invasion at his residence. The wrestling world woke up today to news so shocking, so infuriating, that it's left fans across the globe in a state of disbelief and anger. This isn't a scripted feud. This isn't an angle designed to boost ratings. This is real life, and it's brutal. Dominik Mysterio, one of WWE's fastest rising stars and a man carrying the weight of the legendary Mysterio name, is fighting for his life right now after a violent home invasion left him with life-threatening injuries. According to early reports, the attack happened late last night at Dominik's San Diego home. Neighbors recall hearing loud banging, glass shattering, and muffled shouting. Within seconds, the chaos escalated into violence. By the time police arrived, the front door had been forced open, several rooms were trashed, and Dominik lay on the floor, bleeding heavily from a head wound and multiple injuries to his torso. First responders say he was barely conscious when they found him. The most infuriating detail: nothing of significant value was taken. This wasn't a simple robbery. This was targeted. Whoever did this came for Dominik. Sources close to the family revealed that Dominik had been receiving strange, threatening messages for weeks, messages he never took seriously. In hindsight, those messages now read like warnings. One reportedly said, "You think you're untouchable because you're on TV. Wait until I'm at your door." And last night, someone made good on that threat. Inside WWE, the news spread like wildfire. Superstars, producers, and even office staff have been calling and texting Rey Mysterio nonstop. Friends describe Rey as shattered but furious, pacing the hospital corridors, demanding updates from doctors, and vowing to find out who was behind this. Liv Morgan, who has been closely linked to Dominik both on-screen and off, was reportedly one of the first to arrive at the hospital. Eyewitnesses describe her sprinting through the emergency room doors, her face pale and her hands trembling. She was overheard asking, "Is he still breathing? Please tell me he's still breathing." When a nurse confirmed that he was alive but in critical condition, Liv reportedly broke down, covering her face with her hands before pulling herself together and heading straight to the ICU. The sight inside that room was something she'll never forget. Dominik hooked up to machines, his skin pale, his breathing labored. Bruises and cuts covered his face and arms. A bandage wrapped tightly around his abdomen hinted at the severity of his injuries. Liv sat beside him, holding his hand and whispering, "You're not done, Dom. You're not done. You fight for me. You fight for your dad. You fight for every single person who loves you." Meanwhile, police have confirmed they are treating the case as an aggravated assault with intent to kill. Detectives are reviewing security footage from Dominik's property and the surrounding neighborhood. Already, they have leads on a vehicle seen speeding away from the area around the time of the attack. And here's where the anger boils over: law enforcement believes the attackers knew Dominik's schedule. They knew he'd be home. They knew he'd be alone. This means someone in his circle, or someone with access to inside information, could have tipped them off. WWE has not released an official statement yet, but backstage sources say Triple H himself has been in constant contact with Rey Mysterio and has assured him that, whatever resources are needed, WWE will provide. Security for other superstars has reportedly been increased as a precaution. But this incident is bigger than wrestling. It's about the very real dangers that come with fame. Dangers that wrestlers, unlike many other celebrities, face with even greater intensity because their lives often blur the line between fiction and reality. Dominik Mysterio has been one of the most polarizing figures in WWE over the past 2 years. Whether fans love him or hate him, no one can deny the work he's put in to carve out his own identity. To see him lying in a hospital bed because of a cowardly, calculated act of violence, it's beyond unacceptable. Rey Mysterio has reportedly refused to leave the hospital. Those close to him say he's barely spoken, except to tell the doctors to do whatever it takes, and to quietly promise his son that this isn't where your story ends. And Liv Morgan, she's not just devastated, she's angry. People inside the hospital say she's been pressing detectives for updates, even offering to help with the investigation in any way she can. One friend told reporters, "Liv isn't going to rest until she knows who did this. And when she finds out, God help them." Fans have taken to social media in a storm of support. The hashtags #Justice for Dominik and #StayStrongDom are trending worldwide. Thousands of messages have poured in, not just from fans, but from wrestlers across multiple promotions. AEW stars, NJPW veterans, and even legends who've been retired for years are speaking out, demanding justice. But for now, all anyone can do is wait. Wait for the next update from the hospital. Wait for the next clue in the investigation. Wait for the moment Dominik opens his eyes again. And if there's one thing the wrestling world agrees on, it's this: when he does, the person responsible for this will regret the day they ever stepped into Dominik Mysterio's life. Because this this isn't over. Not by a long shot. The police presence at the Mysterio residence wasn't just for show, this was serious. Dozens of officers swarmed the neighborhood, lights flashing, tape going up, and neighbors standing in shock. But here's the part that's making everyone furious. The details leaking out from sources close to the investigation paint a picture that's 10 times worse than what the WWE Universe could have imagined. Dominik wasn't just attacked, he was targeted. And the attackers, they didn't take money. They didn't take jewelry. They didn't even touch the expensive cars parked in the driveway. No, these people came for Dominik himself. It's being reported that the intruders waited for the exact moment Rey Mysterio wasn't home, meaning this wasn't random, it was calculated. Rey was reportedly traveling for a WWE promotional appearance, leaving Dom home alone. Neighbors told reporters they heard glass shattering around 11:45 p.m. One described hearing what they thought was a fight or a struggle, coming from inside, followed by a chilling scream. When law enforcement arrived, Dominik was found unconscious, severely beaten, with injuries so severe that paramedics rushed him into emergency surgery. Sources say doctors are working around the clock, and that his condition is touch and go. Now here's where the outrage skyrockets. Whispers inside the wrestling world suggest this attack might be connected to a storyline feud that went way beyond the ring. And the first name being floated. Someone Dominik himself has clashed with on-screen and off. Fans are already speculating. Was this personal revenge? Was someone trying to send a message to Rey Mysterio through his son? Or is this something even darker, involving enemies Dominik has made in his rapid rise to WWE fame? The idea that someone might have crossed that line, from the scripted drama of the ring to a real-life act of violence, has the entire wrestling community shaken to its core. And let's not forget, Dominik Mysterio isn't just another wrestler. He's the son of a WWE Hall of Famer, a young man with his whole career ahead of him. For this to happen inside his own home is beyond disgusting, it's unforgivable. Even more unsettling, police sources have confirmed there's security footage from inside the house. But here's the twist. That footage hasn't been released to the public, and law enforcement is keeping it sealed, for now. Which begs the question, what's on that tape that's so disturbing they won't even let the public see it yet? But here's the part that should really make you furious. Because after Dominik was taken to the hospital, while fans were still praying for updates, while Rhea Ripley was in tears refusing to do interviews, a leaked audio clip hit the internet. In this recording, grainy but undeniable, you can hear muffled male voices laughing and talking about sending a message to the Judgment Day. Now tell me, what kind of sick, twisted individual brags about putting someone in critical condition just to prove a point? And the worst part, WWE officials are now suspecting that this wasn't some random burglary gone wrong. No. This was targeted, planned, executed with precision. These people knew Dominik's schedule, his home layout, and exactly when he'd be vulnerable. Think about that. Someone had inside knowledge. And if that doesn't chill you to the bone, here's another gut punch. Security footage from a neighbor's camera caught two figures in hoodies sprinting away from the property. The grainy image seems to show one of them wearing what looks like a wrestling merch hoodie, but not WWE merch. Nope. This was from a rival promotions event last month. That's right. We could be looking at an outside wrestling faction trying to make a violent statement. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Rhea has apparently told close friends she suspects someone in WWE tipped off the attackers. She's not naming names, but the tension backstage is so thick right now you could cut it with a knife. Imagine walking into your own locker room, looking at your colleagues, and wondering, which one of you tried to kill me? The tension in the wrestling world wasn't just from the horrific attack itself, it was from the silence. WWE's corporate offices were practically on lockdown with information. No official medical updates, no clear police statements, nothing. And that silence, it made the speculation 10 times worse. The Mysterio family, Rey, Angie, and Aaliyah, were spotted leaving the hospital under heavy security, their faces drained of all color. Witnesses said Rey looked shattered, like he'd just lost everything. No one in the wrestling community had ever seen the legendary luchador look so broken. Inside the locker room, it was a different war. Some superstars were already calling for WWE to suspend all live storylines until Dominik was stable. Others were quietly whispering about retaliation, about finding out who did this and making sure they'd never walk again. Rhea Ripley was reportedly out for blood. According to sources, she spent hours in a private meeting with Triple H, demanding WWE do whatever it takes to track down the people responsible, even if it meant breaking contracts and bending laws. And then, late last night, the first shocking piece of evidence surfaced. TMZ released what they claimed was surveillance footage from the night of the home invasion. The grainy black and white video showed three masked figures forcing their way through Dominik's back door. Two of them were armed with metal pipes, while the third seemed to carry a long duffel bag, possibly for restraints or weapons. One chilling detail. On the jacket of the tallest attacker, there was a faint but unmistakable logo, one that fans immediately recognized as belonging to a defunct wrestling faction. By morning, the internet was on fire. Twitter threads exploded with conspiracy theories. Was this a random violent robbery? Or was it a calculated hit from someone with deep ties to the wrestling industry? Rey Mysterio, usually calm and diplomatic, broke his silence with a cryptic post. This wasn't random. And when I find out who you are, you'll wish the police got to you first. That's when WWE officially confirmed what fans were dreading. Dominik was still in critical condition, with multiple fractures, internal bleeding, and severe head trauma. The doctors had him in a medically induced coma to try to reduce swelling in his brain. And just like that, the wrestling world went from mourning to rage. Fans weren't just praying for Dominik anymore, they were demanding justice. Hashtags like #JusticeForDom and #WhoAttackedDominik started trending worldwide. Triple H released a rare, emotional statement saying WWE was cooperating fully with law enforcement, but also hinted that they were exploring internal avenues to ensure those responsible never see the light of day in this business again. But here's where it gets even darker, because as of this morning, two WWE superstars have completely vanished from public view. They've missed scheduled appearances, haven't posted on social media, and their names have suddenly been removed from upcoming match cards. The rumor mill is spinning out of control, and every hour, more questions pile up. Were these attackers hired hands or personal enemies? Is there someone inside WWE orchestrating this? And most importantly, will Dominik Mysterio survive to tell his side of the story? Because if he doesn't, the truth might get buried forever.